What's up, everybody? I'm Johnny Christ, and this is Drinks with Johnny. Thank you so much for tuning in to another week. I'm really excited about this one. I'm about to reconnect with someone who I haven't talked to in a very long time, and it's all thanks to you guys, the fans of Drinks with Johnny, and my guest, who was doing a Twitch feed and ended up being asked point blank to come on the show. And so we put it all together, so I'm just going to bring him on. Jake Pitts from Black Veil Brides. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. So, yeah, we got together through this. I mean, we've toured together many, many moons ago. Haven't spoken since.
Back in 2011.
Yeah, man. That was on the, was it the Buried Alive tour or something?
Buried Alive tour. That was it. Yeah.
Man, that seems like so long ago. I guess it was. It was 10 years ago when you really think about it.
Yeah, almost 10 years ago.
Fuck, man. So how you been?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. How have I been?
Yeah,
oh, my God. Busy, man.
Yeah.
Just busy and just bored at the same time. You know, this past year's been kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's been like, I can't complain too much because it's been kind of like a blessing in disguise in the Black Veil Brides camp where, you know, Jinx is a father now, and we were supposed to be touring all year, and he got to spend that whole first year with his son. And, you know, for me, I got to build a whole Twitch community that's been really, really awesome. A lot of fun doing that. We made a new album that'll be coming out this year, and we got a lot of stuff done. I've been, you know, really up in my game in the production world with, you know, engineering, mixing, and all of that. Making music with my wife as well, and just busy.
Yeah.
Always staying busy.
Yeah, I saw all that. I saw all this going on. Before we get into that, because we're going to get into everything that you just said right there, sir.
Yep.
Before we get into that, I always start the night off with a drink. If someone's going to be drinking with me tonight, what do you got something to sip on tonight?
Oh, I do. I have my smoked old fashioned right here with
Nice.
a 308 bullet in the glass.
Nice. Well, I've got what I just found out is called the Hemingway Daiquiri. So
Okay, nice.
I'll explain what that is. Let's just cheers real quick, man. Thanks for being on the show.
All right. Hell yeah. Cheers.
Now, I hope you have enough to make a second one of those, because this might go on a little while.
Oh, I gotta. Yeah, I'll bring the bottle in here later, and you'll laugh.
So, real quickly, going into this this drink, it's rum, Lichardo Marciano cherry liqueur, grapefruit juice, lime juice. What else did I put in there? Oh, a little simple syrup, and finished off with Marciano cherries and a lime wedge.
Sounds delicious.
It's really good. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I was reading about it, and I was like, this sounds really good. And I guess Hemingway used to drink them in Cuba when he was down there. And occasionally he would drink so many of them, and everyone would still be very impressed. I guess the number that the rumor is he drank 16 of them in a sitting, and
my God,
walked out like nothing happened.
Wow.
Have you ever had 16 of anything alcohol-wise and just felt okay with it?
Well, felt okay with it? No, never. I'm trying to think if I've ever had 16 of something. Like, if I did, I don't remember having 16 of something.
Yeah.
So,
well, man, that's fucking awesome. That's what I read. That's the rumor. I'm sticking to it. So,
yeah, that's great.
God bless you, Ernest Hemingway. Let's get into some of the stuff you talked about, man. Right off the bat, want to ask you about this collab with your now wife. I don't want to pronounce it incorrectly. Aelonia, Aelonia.
Okay, so it's an interesting name. I pronounce it Aelonia.
That's Aelonia. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Aelonia. So, when I met my wife, we didn't really like she's a singer, and she's from Ukraine originally and moved out to LA, you know, to pursue music and all of that. And we just kind of met randomly, and we just hit it off and had no intentions of making music together whatsoever. And then it just kind of happened to, you know, I make music, she's into music, and you know, I'm a total music nerd, and when it comes to gear and audio and recording and everything, like, that's my world. I love it. And so we just started talking, and she started showing me some stuff that she was working on. I was like, this is actually really cool. Like, you don't have vocals on it yet, though. you should let me track your vocals. And we just like, I produced one song and it ended up being really cool. And we just started like joking around, and I was kind of like making fun of some like riff styles and stuff like that. And then like ended up stumbling upon something. I was like, this actually kind of sounds cool, you know, in making fun of something. And we just kind of like started writing music together. And that turned into, we made a whole album. And during that process, we were doing like pretty heavy music that's very melodic, obviously, and with the female vocals. And then I got heavily into like the EDM scene and learning how to produce a totally different style of music, learning everything EDM, from like the collabs with the pop artists and to the hard trap stuff to the dubstep. Like I went from all the pop, like I did the full EDM circle all the way around to like the hardest stuff. Started going to all these shows and just really took it all in. And I learned how to like make that. And it just, I think that made me such a better musician, songwriter, producer, just in the grand scheme of things, because I can go in and I can easily make a trap beat. I mean, I can make a death metal drum beat all day long, whatever, you know, programming drums. I've been doing that forever, but just making a different genre of music that is so different from rock or metal. It was really interesting for me to learn that. And I'm a Pro Tools guy. I've used Pro Tools since 2005. So I got Ableton and I just dove in and I just learned it really, really quick. And, you know, watched probably 100 hours of videos learning how to do things. And, you know, it's awesome having YouTube, because when I was learning Pro Tools, there was no YouTube yet. So I just had to figure it out the hard way. Now it's like, how do I do this? And boom, there's a tutorial for 1 minute and I figure it out and I'm on my way. But yeah, so we started kind of messing with like EDM music, and then we started doing some remixes, and we're working on some new music now that's the best stuff we've ever made. Like as far as like the rock stuff, it's cool. And I'm experiencing, you know, I'm messing with the 7-string guitar, which is something I don't really do. And it's cool. It's, you know, it's inspiring to just dive into these new things.
Yeah, new sounds can often bring out something different in you that you didn't really know was there. You know, you're exploring and stuff, right?
Yep. One thing I've been doing that's because of the EDM stuff is, you know, with Black Veil over the years and just how I've been as a guitar player for so long, is I pick up my guitar, it's in drop C sharp or drop C or whatever, and I just pick it up and I start riffing and I write a song on that, and it's like it'll just be, you know, a different variation of the same thing over and over. And I started changing my, you know, working with different producers over the years have helped develop my style too. But starting with just like a chord progression on a piano in like a key that I would not typically write in has really been something cool to bring out like something different stylistically. And so that I even brought that element into the new Black Veil record. But talking about Aelonia, we, you know, I think we've been sitting on it for, I want to say like a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years.
Yeah, because the one record that's out right now from Maloney was 2019 release.
Is 2019? Okay. Or was it 18? I don't remember.
To my research, it said 19, but it could have been a re-release or something.
I don't know. It feels like forever ago, because that was a very interesting process. So you can kind of hear in that album like the heavy stuff into sort of like, all right, where you can tell there's some electronic influences in there. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, we full on, like we probably have 30 or so song ideas that just never became anything, like rock, EDM, just everything in between. And the EDM side of things really kind of showed when I've known Jacoby Shaddix, his brother Bryson, since like, oh my God, I think I met him in 2006. And we went to so Black Veil did 3 nights at the Roxy here in LA. And then we were the first band, I guess, to do like that kind of thing. And then Papa Roach did it. And so my wife and I, Ina, we went to go to the show, one of the shows, and we ended up hanging with the guys. And I just like spit the idea out to his brother. I was like, hey, let's like I want us to remix a Papa Roach song. I think that would be really cool. And that night was kind of like the spark of it. So we have like for the electronic side of things, we have a remix for Elevate, Top of the World, and Help. And all three of those remixes, which are the only ones we did, are on their Greatest Hits Volume 2 that just came out, I think, like on the 19th.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, and then they did I don't know if there were some other ones that they also had other people do some remixes on it too, right? Because I saw like I was driving in the car and Octane came on and there was another mix of Last Resort. So I know that they did.
Yeah, they've been really pushing Last Resort with I think his name's Jarris Johnson.
Yeah, I
don't know too much about him, but like they like recut a video for it, and they've been really pushing that, and just this Greatest Hits, and you know, I mean, it's really cool that basically what happened was we did this Elevate remix, and it was kind of like, I don't think anybody thought anything was going to be good, because I mean, to be honest, I've been messing with the EDM music for maybe 2 years. And I don't really know what I'm doing with it, but I'm not going to do it bad. You know, if you know what I'm saying, like I'm going to learn how to do it and at least like give it my best attempt.
You're gonna give it your all.
I'll sit here and tell them like, I think this is,
around with it. You're not
like, I think this can compete. Like, it doesn't sound bad. But we did our Elevate remix and we sent it, and they were like flipping out about it, you know, and then that brought on an opportunity. With my publisher through BMG, we got the opportunity to remix Top of the World, and this was a big one because they said like they're looking for something a little more commercial, and it's going to be pitched for a Super Bowl commercial. So automatically, I'm like, cool, we know what we got to do, and we did that, and it didn't get chosen, unfortunately, but the cool thing was like my publisher said, people in the office at BMG were asking like, who is that? Papa Roach and Imagine Dragons and like all this stuff. And I'm like, well, shit, like you're going to compare us to that. Like, that's cool, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think that one's probably my favorite remix that we did. And then the last one they asked us to do was for Help. And we did that. And each one's very, very different. So it's just, I think it's a cool thing just to kind of show like the shit that, you know, I'm capable of, and my wife, you know, obviously helped me immensely with the ideas and how to do all of it, and what sounds needed to be there, and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, so speaking of your wife, Ina, let's go back to something where you said how you kind of met her randomly. Well, how did you? Can you expand upon that? Like, how did you meet your wife, and why was it randomly?
Okay. I'll go ahead and she's right here. If
come on in here for a second.
Come on in here. Let's tell the story. So,
hi, Ina.
She can probably tell the story a little bit more clearly than I can.
Okay.
But I will tell my point of view. Do you want a chair?
Yeah, I'll
grab it.
I'll join you for a second then.
All right.
Okay. Cool.
So, Andy's wedding. That's how it started, right? Andy's wedding. There's a few of us guys there. Danny from Asking Alexandria was there, and you know, it's a wedding. We're having fun. We drank all the wine, all the champagne, everything was there. We cleared it out, and then at the time I lived just on the outside of Hollywood, and some of the guys were like, "Let's go out in Hollywood tonight," and I was like, "Well, I gotta go there anyway, so let's go." And we just went out to the bars in Hollywood. And very, very inebriated. Kind of remember.
You don't.
That's why he's saying randomly, because he doesn't fucking remember the story.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know.
No, it was really random. It was not random at all. He was fucking pissing in the corner.
It wasn't random. I was the random. I was random.
I'm Jake Fitz from Black Hole Brother. Like, good for you.
Yeah, like, good for you. I don't care. I was like, okay, I'm going to make you care.
It's funny because he's turned into a complete different person when he's like drunk. It's like not Jake.
No. Not drunk. That's like obliterated.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
a-
yeah.
You know, yeah.
Drunk's fun. Obliterated, like, I don't remember what I did last night, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I woke up like, oh my God. What? Like, you know, I remember the wedding and everything. Went out in Hollywood. I was like, okay. And I guess we'll make this the official story, not the edited version. So yeah, I woke up and it was one of those moments where I was like, I'm not going to be able to deal with this hangover.
Mm-hmm.
I feel terrible. So I did the dumb thing and I went and made like a vodka something, right? It's just like,
a little
I
hair
gotta
of the
try to
dog.
like,
You went for the hair of the dog.
yeah. I did that. And one didn't cut it. So I had to make a second. And by the time I had the second, somebody's hitting me up like, hey, are you coming to the Rainbow today? And I was like, oh my God, what? Like, it was some big 45th, what was it?
It's like a huge party.
was like a-
Everyone's there. Everybody.
Like a big anniversary party. Bands are playing, the streets blocked
The
off.
Rainbow,
Like,
okay.
Everybody, yeah, at the Rainbow and on Sunset. And I was like, I didn't even know that was happening. And like, I got invited, like, you should totally come. I was like, all right.
Well, I
And
got
at this
invited
time,
too.
yeah, so you got invited, so you were there, yet I didn't know you. Anyway, long story short, I go. I was already so hungover, and when you have a couple drinks in one of those situations, you're just right back to
You
obliterated.
can be. You definitely can be.
Yeah, so that happened.
I'm happy you don't do it anymore.
No, it's
It was
yeah.
a one-time thing, I guess.
No, that I don't know. I hadn't been out in a long time, and I was like, I'm just letting loose, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so yeah, basically, I mean, you could probably take it from
Yeah,
here.
you know,
'cause I
like
don't
when
remember
it's-
much that
So
night,
this
but-
is what I love. What I loved about that story at the beginning was you were coming up and name dropping yourself at the a little inebriated
yeah.
and name dropped
I'm not
yourself. and
proud
just-
of that. That's
No.
like
It's
that's
okay.
embarrassing,
It's okay.
man.
I did the same thing to my wife. I was the difference was I was
Thank God.
the difference was I think I had just joined the band. I don't even think I was 19 years old yet. And
Okay. Well, I was a little bit older than 19, so
it's okay. It's okay.
a little cringy.
So why don't you recall the story for us? What do you remember from meeting our friend Jake here?
So how it was for me.
Come in here.
I'm just hanging out there with my friend, and he's coming over and like, hey, I'm Jake Fitz from Blackwell Brides, and I'm like, okay. And I'm like literally turning around. The next day, I remember him. So I'm seeing him behind the table. It's like my friends, and I'm like, hey, and he's just like nothing. I'm like, okay, is he ignoring me? Like, there's.
She thought I was
mystery.
ignoring
Ooh,
her.
that's
and
what
I
went-
just-
that's
I have
what
no
worked.
Recollection.
You cannot do
You
that.
can't ignore me.
I had
No,
no
that is that.
recollection of this.
Oh, it's
So
because
I'm
you
like,
were gone. You weren't ignoring her. You just couldn't even see straight. That's
Yeah, I was like, okay, focus.
How do I know that? For me, it's just he's ignoring me. So I'm
Yeah.
trying, like, okay, second time. I'm like, hey! And he's ignoring me. So I'm like, okay, this can't be. Okay, third time. I did 3 times. I said hi to him 3 times. And he ignored me. I was like, I'm giving up. All right. So the next thing, my friend, I'm buying drinks. And Jake is like taking randomly all the drinks, all he can get. I'm like, who's this guy? What is he doing to himself?
He had no
I would
idea.
love to ask myself that same question.
So I was like, this is weird. He's going to end up, it's going to be like pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I started like taking off from him like some drinks, just like, you're good. The next thing happened, it's him barely standing there. And I realized my friend disappeared. So I'm there, but this guy that I don't know who's ignoring me, who's being complete bad person in my like head. Like, how can you not say anything to me? I'm like, I have to babysit you.
Yep.
Yep.
So somebody allowed us to sit. They saw the situation. The guy's just barely standing, and the woman is like, "Oh my God, you're good." So the next thing, it was like this: Jake's head on my shoulder.
Falling asleep.
Then he fell asleep. It's 2 a.m.
This is such a romantic story. I gotta say.
It is so-
Isn't it? She met me at my worst.
I
So it
know.
was all uphill from there.
Yeah. That was, and she was instantly the caregiver. You were instantly the caregiver there too. That's so. What I'm getting from the story, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, is He ignored you 3 times. You were not having that. And he was very excited that someone would actually take care of him in that state. So it was a match made in heaven.
I kidnapped him.
Yeah, 100%.
So the thing is, because it was 2 a.m. and, everything's closing, like in LA back then, it was like 2 a.m. So everybody started like, getting ready to go home. They turned on light, and then I realized that my friend is like, everybody come over like to see my new place, or we were at old place, doesn't matter, like let's go after party. Jake doesn't remember, obviously. He's like, I don't know.
He's shaking his head. He's like, sure, whatever you say, sweeter.
I don't remember any of that. I just remember being at this apartment complex in Hollywood, and I'm like, where am I? Like, what is happening? But I kind of got kidnapped.
That's awesome.
But I wasn't mad about it. So
I don't remember who was there, who else was there, but I remember a bunch of people. We all went there. So I put him in Uber, and I kidnapped the rock star. Here we go. That's all I did.
There you go. That's a true Hollywood romance story right there.
And then I think I got all like upset or something, and I was like, I gotta go home, and I left, and I took off, and I got home, and then I thought like I'm probably never gonna see these people again, but I got creepy and found her on Instagram and DM'd her, and I was just straight to the point. I said, hey, I think you're beautiful, and I want to take you out on a date.
It was funny because there at the after party, he kind of like sobered up a bit, and he was trying to hug me. So I'm from Ukraine originally. We're like, I'm all about traditional relationship. If you hugging somebody, it's because you know them or you're friends or you're a couple. I'm like, hey, like come on, no, you're gonna do this. It's just like hilarious. And then he's just like, you look like Victoria's Secret angel. I love that. Hair.
She had like
different
bleached blonde hair, and I
was like, all right.
I was in tip-top shape.
Yeah.
The next day he texted me saying like, hey, I want to take you on a date, and nobody ever in LA said this to me, like, hey, I want to take you on a date. It was like, hey, let's go hang out. I'm like, yeah, okay, no.
Yeah, no, you wanted to be wooed. I mean, that's awesome, and hey, good for you. I mean, it's definitely not a traditional sense for, I guess, my generation, or we're not that far apart in age, I don't think. But
I don't think so.
Yeah, a little different, but it's the kind of the generational thing of, a text, maybe a phone call, but a DM asking for a date. That's the only thing that's a little suspect. But I will say, you were a gentleman about it, saying a date. That's what really got her. We were making the joke before that you ignoring her was what got her, but I have a sneaky suspicion it was the gentleman DM later.
Yeah.
It was so like intense for me because I didn't understand. I thought this guy is just some prick. I'm sorry for the word, but it was just like, I don't want.
Oh, you can speak freely. He's the one who has to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean.
And then
totally understandable.
My friend is like, no, you should go on a date with him. I'm like, okay, prove me. And it's just like, no, he's totally nice guy. I don't know how she knew about him. So when we went on the first date, first of all, he opened everywhere doors for me. We were taking, like, he was taking my jacket off, like being super nice gentleman. I'm like, are you just like playing some mind games? What's happening here?
Yeah,
he's like, what happened to the other guy?
Yeah, you met Mr. You met Mr. Hyde, and then or you met you met Mr. Hyde, but Dr. Jekyll came out the next day.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was interesting. I guess that's when.
What was the first date though? What was the first date? Like, where did you take her?
Well, it was interesting. So we went out to dinner first. It was like a vegan restaurant in downtown LA called Owl Lock, or how do you say it?
Owl Lock.
Owl Lock.
Yeah,
okay.
It's like raw vegan food.
Yeah, like raw vegan restaurant. And then the dumbest thing you ever do on a first date is go to a movie. But I didn't know what else to do. Like, she's from Ukraine.
It was my idea.
And it was your idea. Sorry, you had the dumbest idea ever.
Why do we have like too much in common here? The first actual date I took for my wife, my now wife, we were 19 years old, and I took her to see a movie.
Okay.
What is happening?
So we were 19. We couldn't. What else?
Did you make it through the movie though?
I did.
Okay, we did not. So
Okay. Well, I was 19. I couldn't. It wasn't like I could take her to a bar or a nice restaurant at the time.
Right. Well, yeah, we were obviously over 21, but I remember like, okay, we went to like the ArcLight Theater in Hollywood, and I think I tried to like hold your hand and help you up some stairs, and you kind of like took your hand away, and I was like, oh, I was like, okay, I was like,
well, it's because you didn't understand. We're Ukrainians. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I was raised that way. Like, I don't know you yet. Like, why would I? I can take care of myself, and it's just weird cultural thing, I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
He doesn't know that at that time. I'm like, oh yeah, thank you, but I'm good.
Speaking of the cultural difference, though, how long had you been, and how long have you been now in the States?
So at the point when we met, I was only for a year here. I think. Right?
Was that it?
I think so. So I moved here February 2015.
No, it was like you were like 2 years almost.
A year, because we met in June. No,
You moved in 15 or 14?
April 15. So
Okay.
in April,
Yeah.
we met in April 2016. So yeah, like a year, a little bit more than a year. So yeah. And of course, I'm still new.
Yeah, still learning everything, and it's not like not like you went to a
Yeah.
small town either. You came to Hollywood.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's different for people who live in this country to go to Hollywood. I just tell you that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Also, I knew that guy who's like, the guy from BVB. I don't know how to act yet, so I'm like, I'm good, thank you.
I don't think I did it that much. I wasn't like, I'm the guy. I was like, probably like, hey, I'm from BVB. Like, that's probably more like it.
She's wondering if it's some kind of weird management company that she doesn't want to be a part of.
Yeah, like what?
Something.
You mean the football team, right? In Spain or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Well, that was. I'm glad that you guys said your name a few times, because I didn't know how to pronounce it before. So going back to not being able to pronounce things, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for jumping in here. Got to tell you, your Aelonia stuff is awesome. I wasn't expecting to hear that voice out of you, and I think you sound amazing on that record. That's the one that I've heard.
Wait till you hear the new stuff. It's like
awesome,
a whole new level.
Can't wait. Do you guys have a time you're going to be doing that? Do you know yet when you're going to be releasing it?
We're just kind of working on music right now. At the moment, we're thinking of just putting out an EP.
Cool.
But we'll see what it turns into. Yeah, we're just writing, recording. We have some songs done.
Are you doing a lot of this writing and recording at home? I know a lot of with the technologies that you can utilize. I mean, you could get it sounding pretty fucking good in from your house these days. So,
if you could see what I'm looking at right now,
can you send me a picture when we're done here? So I could.
Yeah, I'll take it right now.
Cool.
And then I'll show you right now too. But no, don't install an update.
You can send it. We could get to that later.
I'm in. This is originally the music studio, but I turned it into like my streaming studio as well.
Yeah.
No, I'll just do this.
Oh yeah.
So, see if you can see that.
Oh yeah, that's a legit setup, man.
Yeah. So we got the vocal booth here. Got all the gear, Telefunken mic, 251, the 1073, the
251.
Slate Dragon.
I got the M80 right here. It's just gold plated. The Telefunken M80.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love it. Yeah. I use my
really
SM57
cool.
out here.
Yeah.
We'll leave the $9,000 mic in the booth.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Chatting, I'm gonna go.
Nice to meet you, Ina. Thanks for hopping in. Thanks for sharing your story.
It was fun.
That's kind of like the first time we've really kind of done it. Like so many people will ask, like, how'd you guys meet? And I'm like, oh God, I don't even know how to say this. It's a whole story. So
yeah,
I guess for anybody that wanted to know like the nitty gritty details, there you go.
Yeah, there we are. That's what they come to Drinks with Johnny for, man. I loosen you up with a couple of cocktails and I get the shit out of you. That's what we're here for.
Yep, that's what we're here for.
Speaking of some more of the EDM and the producing that you've started to get into, you're probably doing a little bit of the producing and writing those kind of go hand in hand in a lot of respects for artists like ourselves. But you mentioned bringing in the EDM stuff, and that's been something new for you in the last couple of years. And you've been somewhat incorporating this into the new Black Veil Brides record that you guys are working on, or done. Is it done, and you guys are just waiting on a release date, or tying in some loose ends? Where's it at right now?
It's 100% done. And I wouldn't say that I really brought EDM elements into the Black Veil record, but where what I learned with producing EDM and like how I would start writing a song, I took that idea into just like basically I was just writing songs, and I would have like a scratch idea of something that could maybe be something where it started with like a piano chord progression in, F sharp minor, which is a very popular EDM key.
Okay.
And
I'll take your word for it.
Not something that like I would typically pick up one of my guitars and whatever tuning it's in and end up writing in our song, whatever key it would be, it would end up being written in, just starting from a different perspective, basically. So not so much like, oh, I'm bringing in like the new Black Veil album doesn't have like drops and dubstep and like a bunch of trap beats or anything like that in it. It has none of that, but there are some modern elements in it, but it's very much so a Black Veil record. But I think this is the best Black Veil record, just in the sense of, Andy's vocals sound the best he's ever sounded. The songs, I think the songwriting is the best songs we've ever written. And of course, coming from being somebody who's in the band, we say that every album. It's the same old story. Oh, this is our best album, right?
Yeah.
But like legitimately, like the things that the band's gone through, over the last couple of years with knowing whether this band's going to continue or not, it was kind of a thing where, we've spent pretty much all of 2020 working on this. And it kind of all started with, what was it? September 2019. All the guys came over here and I produced the Night EP, and I recorded that, mixed it, and we put that out. It was just 2 songs, but they were kind of like old school shredders, like crazy shit. And we put that out and people loved it. And we shot a video for both songs, Saints of the Blood, which actually Ina helped co-write, and then with The Vengeance, and we shot a video for both of those, and people loved it. And then that was kind of like a thing of like, okay, let's go into like the next era of this band. And we just started writing, and we went in with Eric Ron, and the first song that we wrote together was Scarlet Cross. And so I got up that morning and I wrote the riff, and I recorded like a quick 1.5 minute session, took it in, and we discussed ideas for like an hour and a half. What are we doing? And I was like, well, I got this idea here, and we played it, and we're like, cool, let's go with this. And we just started from there. And that's what started the album. That song's out. We shot a video for it. So that was the first single. That's on Active Rock Radio right now. Yeah,
that was in, you guys dropped that video and that single in November, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a good video, man. It's cool to see, you guys still rocking the, it's definitely evolved over the years, but still rocking the looks. That's always been a prevalent thing for you guys. And for us, it was we used to do a little bit of that too in our earlier years.
Oh, I know. Oh yeah,
yeah. It's fun to see that you guys still have the spectacle going on. I really respect that, especially in the music video, man. It was done in a very, very cool and different way, I think, with that Scarlet Cross video.
Yeah.
When you guys filmed that, that kind of leads me into a question here. That, like you said, it released in November, so you guys had to film that during the pandemic. Obviously, you guys are comfortable working together, and and it looks like the extras or other actors in it are kind of wearing a mask anyway. I mean, so was that intentional? Was that something that you guys did, or was it just like,
not intentional? I mean, that's just part of the storyline. And so it's a concept album again. So we did Wretched and Divine, and that was a whole concept record. And then we did the record with Bob Rock, and that was just kind of like, we were just making songs, and then we did Vale, which basically it's what is it? It's Latin for like goodbye, and it was kind of like that album was very much so like we were pretty sure like Cece, drummer, and I we're pretty much like I think that this whole album is pretty much like saying like that's it, and you know we just.
Was that on purpose? Were you guys really planning on ending things?
Well,
or
it wasn't so much like, I mean, you know, the band kind of went through some turmoil, and there was a lot of miscommunication and just misunderstanding, and you know we had some changes and stuff that happened, but some things that were necessary to happen to make it continue on, and that happened. So. Here we are where it didn't end, but like basically the last song on the album, Vale, is literally saying like, this is where it ends. And, but it didn't.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm really glad that it didn't for a couple reasons. One, I haven't heard any of the new music other than Scarlet Cross, obviously, for what you guys have in store for us. But I got to say, listening to Vale, I was like, oh shit. These guys have evolved. I mean, it's nice to see a band, you know, continually strive to do something different, but maintain their identity at the same time. I guess.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you put it through the BVB filter, if you will. Like anything you do, it's still going to have you in it, but you're not worried about stepping out and you know, challenging yourself to make a new sound or a new record. And that one, when I was listening through that album, I was like, damn, this is like a classic rock song with some really cool new elements to it. And why don't you walk me through the process of that one? I know you probably, you know, more excited about the new stuff right now, but we can't dive too much into that until it gets closer to release. Your management team.
Yeah.
But so instead of that, let's dive into a little bit of that and what's been going on since then. I guess.
So
who did was that the record you worked on with John Feldman?
Yeah, so I co-produced that one with John Feldman, and basically how The Outsider came about was that whole record took a really long time to make because Andy was doing his solo stuff. He had just finished his solo record with John Feldman, and then he went and toured. So we were supposed to start Vale right after that, and like we went in, like Jinx and I went in to go start writing with Feldy, and we spent about 3 weeks. Every single day we were there for like 14 hours a day out in Woodland Hills, and we would just like from the first time, like I learned a lot from Feldy working with him. The first time we did Wretched and Divine with him, you know, I was the guy that demoed everything, and like I had all the song ideas, and I would go in and I had all the stuff, and that's how the first 2 records went. And then when we did Wretched and Divine, it was like I showed up with all the stuff and he didn't care. And I was like, what? And so like we kind of butted heads a little bit at first. Okay. But then full like end of the process, you know, the record was great and for what it was. And you know, the songs got used that I brought in and we wrote, but he's like a songwriter producer. So he wants to, let's see what new we can bring out of you. I don't care what you have right now. Let's do something new right now.
Yeah, I've heard this about. I've never worked with them hands on, but some other people have been on the show. Even himself has been on the show, and how he likes to approach things is very hands on and very in the moment, and likes to record what you guys are doing in the moment. Didn't mean to cut you off there, but I've heard that from guys like the guys in the Treyu used. Countless other ones. So I think our listeners are a little familiar with his approach. And
so
I guess
for me,
that was a little different for you though. Yeah.
For me at the time, like I had never experienced that, and I was like, whoa, and it was weird, and I didn't. It was just something uncomfortable for me. Mm-hmm. But you know, when I look back at it, it's something that took me out of my comfort zone, and it helped me grow. And I learned from that. And while there might have been like butting heads, and that whole record process was kind of difficult, to be honest, like between everybody. But that, I mean, it was so interesting because that's what it took to make that album. And then at the end of it, it was like, wow, like, okay, we actually did this. And something great kind of happened there, and it ended up, you know, we had the song In the End on there that just, you know, kind of blew up, and for us anyway. And so going back in and you know, then going to Bob Rock and then coming back and doing another album with Feldy, I was like, well, okay, I've worked with him, I know how he works now. I'm coming in with nothing, like nothing but maybe some voice notes on my iPhone of me humming a melody or like a riff or something. So that's how that album happened. Voice notes, man.
Everyone in the music industry knows how voice notes go. Like we've talked about it on the show, man. There's like, for every 100, there might be one that isn't cringeworthy. And you're like, maybe.
It's all Beavis and Butthead. Dun, 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 you know, it's all Beavis and Butthead. Like, yeah. So, I went in and then the first thing he's like, so you guys got some riffs and stuff? And I'm like, oh my God, dude. Like,
just when you thought you figured out John Feldy.
That's when I thought I figured him out. He's like, so what do you have? And I'm like, oh my God, nothing, dude. Here's some voice notes. Let's laugh at me. And like, I just started playing my voice notes, and then I had all these ideas, and like nobody laughed. And it was like, hey, I like that one idea here. Let's start with that. And we're just like, okay, cool. And we just got to work and started. And then, so The Outsider, that was actually the very first song we started on. I think it was Throw the First Stone.
Okay.
And that was a total Beavis and Butthead like riff idea I had in my voice note. And we just started from there and went. But The Outsider, same style, except for we were already in the writing process. And I woke up one morning and I had this idea in my head. And I recorded just a guitar unplugged just on a voice note, and I sent it, and I was like, hey, like I got this like riff idea thing. We could do something with this maybe. And I got there a half an hour later, and they were already cooking up the idea, and it was like, oh, this is turning into something cool. And then we just went from there, and that whole song developed. So literally that record, everything was just like iPhone voice notes, how all the songs started.
That's great. I love that, because I mean, that's
literally... Dead Man Walking on that album was a John Feldman voice note of him humming a bunch of random crap in his car driving home. And it was like, is there anything here? Can you turn this into something? And somehow it happened.
It's so funny because I hear that. I mean, every artist I talk to, especially from even doing this podcast, is before doing this podcast, you know, you run into your friends. You don't really have this kind of talk about each other's music. Like you might every once in a while in the backstage in the dressing room, something like that. But it's not that common that we like really kind of dive into each other's music and process and stuff. So, you know, that's kind of why I wanted to start this. You know.
Yeah, and you said this is kind of like a conversation back and forth. So I would love to ask you some stuff.
Absolutely, man. What do you got?
You guys are working on new music, right?
Yeah, we've been working for. Long time now. Basically since 2019 now, something like that.
Do you have an album done or no?
No, it's not. It's not completed yet. It is
okay.
not. It is not completed yet. I can say that much. It's, you know, as you know, we try to be ambiguous. You've known us over the years.
Oh yeah.
This is very opposite of what we usually do. This podcast right here. What I can say about it is it's a work. It's a work in progress. We're working on it. It's at a point where we're all very happy, but it is not finished, and we don't have any sort of release date or anything like that. We're kind of waiting to see how the world shakes out before we do that. Similar to what we talked about at the top of this show, the silver lining of this last year is every single one of us has a young family, and we've kind of taken our time working. It's allowed us to take our time and work out this album. And stay at home with our kids. So,
congrats, by the way.
Thank you.
How many kids do you have now?
I've got one. He's 4 years old. I think we're one and doneers. But yeah, and then the rest of the guys have two each. So yeah, and they're all young. They're all in elementary school, or you know, some of them not even. You know, some of them are babies. So take the time as like a kind of a forced hiatus in a way. But we're still really active with our band. It's always a passion, as you would know. But as far as that goes, I could say that we're happy with what we have. It is not finalized, and we do not have a date because we're just kind of waiting for the world to kind of show us the way in a manner of speaking.
Right. Yeah. So no tour dates or anything?
No.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with touring yet. I'm hopeful. It looks like everything's gonna possibly go off on the summer. I mean, a lot of vaccines are getting out there. A lot of people are getting more comfortable.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll happen in some form. Maybe it's a 50%. Maybe it's something that they still have to do a little bit, but at least they can get it. You know, it's something I got to talk to the guys that I'm sure you know, like Danny Wimmer and those things to get a more of a concrete thing. But you know, a few months ago, I haven't spoken to anyone recently, but a few months ago, it was still very like, this is what we're hoping for, but we don't really know yet. You know, the world is slowly but surely starting to get back to normal, it feels like. I mean, for me, in my world, it took this very, very extremely seriously, and I'm, you know, in the last month, things have starting to get better, and we're starting to feel a lot more comfortable getting out in the world and you know, seeing friends, family, all this, that, and the other, outside of just the band. Obviously, see the band all the time, but you know.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I haven't gotten to see my family or anything at all during this time. I know my dad got his second Pfizer vaccine, so he's done with it, and I'm hoping
your dad?
maybe.
Where's the rest of your family in the world?
So my dad lived in Hawaii for a really long time, but most of my family's in Idaho. Okay. But I have family in Minnesota and like the Chicago area as well. But like my immediate family is Idaho.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, let's get back to that to your guys' writing process now, and what's happened over the last couple of years. You mentioned that there was little things going on before Vale or around the Vale time with Andy's side project. One of the good things that seemed to have come out of it, though, was getting Lonnie Eagleton from guitar in that side project to now being your bass player, which was announced in 2019, I want to say. So tell me about that transition. I mean, when we toured, Ashley Purdy was still in the band. Are you comfortable talking about that departure? Is that something that you guys kind of like to keep to the vest, or is there something you could tell me about that? And or just graze over it. Feel free to graze over it and get into Lonnie. You know. I mean, I know how that awkward shit can go. Don't worry, bro.
Yeah. Man, oh boy, if I could, but I can't. So
I got you.
I won't. But Lonnie's great. He's a great musician. You know, he's like a session musician, and he came in. You know, he got the gig playing guitar for Andy, and anytime he plays LA, you know, we go support him and go to the show, and that's how I first met Lonnie. And he great guy, super just weird, down to earth nerd, kind of like me. And I was like, okay, like, I mean, he's definitely weirder than me, and a little creepier than me. But like,
in what way though? You please elaborate.
Like when it comes to like things that he likes, like he's afraid of the dark, and like his favorite movie is like what is it? Country Bears.
Okay. I need a drink.
Like
for
he's
this.
kind of like
hold
a
on
little
a second. I need a drink for this.
Okay. Me too.
Did you honestly just tell me that the newest member of Black Veil Brides is not only afraid of the dark, but how old is he? Is he like a Benjamin Button thing going on? No, that would be different.
I'm pretty sure.
Is it? What was the one with the late great Robin Williams? Was that movie called Jack? I believe, where he looks like a 40-year-old man, but he's actually like 10 years old.
Yeah.
Is this what you're kind of telling me about your new member?
I might be convinced so. Yeah, I think so.
Did you say Country Bear? Like the animated movie, right?
Yeah. He doesn't ever shut up about it. And like,
I have to meet this man. I mean that's too intriguing.
Like
and plays metal.
I'll just throw it out there. He's the nicest dude ever, the sweetest dude ever. And I'm a little concerned that he might be a serial killer.
See, if you put that, then it makes more sense. If you go the serial killer route, it makes more sense. But I'm sitting here thinking about, you know, the image of Black Veil Brides, a little
like
darker.
I'm pretty sure he's pretending. He's gonna kill us all one day. We're gonna be on the
Especially
tour
after
bus.
he hears this, he's gonna be out. Oh, you told everyone I'm afraid of the dark, huh, motherfucker?
Yeah, he's gonna stab us all. No, but like to get real, like no, he is a really, really talented musician and really, really super nice guy. But yeah, just a little weird. Like he legit doesn't deny he's afraid of the dark. It's like, okay. I mean, shit, I can get creeped out by the dark too. Like you put me in the middle of nowhere.
Well, yeah, I think
I'm gonna kind of be like, well,
that's
shit. What's my imagination's gonna start running wild? Like,
I don't think
there's
anyone
some
would
shit out
disagree.
there.
Yeah, Jake, we're not talking about being stuck in the middle of the woods in the pitch black. Like that's being afraid of like just natural things. That's not being afraid of the dark.
Yeah, yeah.
It's being afraid of like big bears and fucking different shit that can.
Yeah, like
actually
I'm
maul
pretty
you.
sure that's a grizzly bear I'm hearing that's probably coming this way. Like, no, he like country bears is his favorite. He's never really seen any good movie.
Wow. Never seen a good movie, or never like watched it and then been like, I just
Like
don't care
anytime we talk about movies, like okay, you've seen Happy Gilmore, right?
Of course, yeah, naturally.
Yeah. Okay, he's like, I don't know what that is.
Again, how old is he? Like, I just feel like it's either a generation
29.
or he's like, is he super? Did he grow up super sheltered or something?
I don't know. He's Canadian. I think that's the excuse.
Blame Canada. Okay, we're going south by.
We'll blame Canada. Yeah. Well, to be fair, my wife hasn't seen Happy Gilmore either.
But she's from the Ukraine.
I know.
She's only been when that movie was big and coming out. That was like 96, 97? How old, Ina? How old were you in 96 or 97?
Well, I'm 1990, so I'm like with Andy the same age.
Oh, dude, you were a baby when that
You
movie
were
came
7.
out. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like,
You were 7
Understandable.
in a foreign country. You have an excuse.
you have an excuse, but Lonnie's Canadian. I guess I don't know. Is that the excuse? I don't know. He's a wonderful human being. He's very, very sweet, very nice guy, very talented musician. It's great to have somebody who, just like
Does it mesh well? When you got, I mean, not to badmouth anyone prior, but when this current lineup that you guys have right now, how are you feeling about it? Does it feel like maybe something is got a little shot of adrenaline in your asses, or what's going on?
Yeah. So basically, last year, it was just a little bit over a year ago. So we did like that whole night EP, and we recorded it here, and then we put that out, and we were gearing up for the whole 2020 tour. We're gonna be touring the world. We did all the rehearsals, and the first show was Mexico City on March 6th.
Oh, that was also your last show. So it
Yes.
was your first and last show? Jesus.
First
I didn't
and
realize,
last show.
I knew it was your last show.
So-
I didn't know it was your first and last show for the. Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So we flew down there kind of right as the whole like, oh shit, coronavirus thing is happening. Like this is a problem. And we went down there and we played the show. It was sold out. It was insane. It was probably, I've had some favorite shows over the years, but it was just this, like, it felt
Mexico
like,
City hits different, man. They're a great,
Dude, it does,
a great
man.
crowd base. Fan
and
base.
it just felt like everybody's energy in the band, everybody's energy was just good. Like
Awesome.
there wasn't like anything like, it was just like, fuck yeah, like we're all stoked. Like, let's do this. We played the show. Everybody had a giant smile on their face, and it felt like a new beginning kind of thing.
That's awesome.
And we were so stoked. We literally turned around and flew right back to LA, and we were supposed to have maybe 2 weeks to prepare and go back into rehearsals and then go do the tour within this moment. And within 2 days, it was like, I don't know if this is happening.
Yeah,
and then it was
all
just
kinda
like, boom,
had-
like that.
Yeah, it was. I kind of feel like here in the States, or just at least here in California, it kind of felt like we were the last to the table. It kind of, you hear about it starting over here, and then it had spread over here, and we're still going, it's still not going to happen here. And then all of a sudden, I remember, for me, being the sports fan that I am, when they walked off the court of a Mavericks game in the NBA, I was like, like. They're not going to do that there for nothing. Like that
For
was
nothing.
like kind of uh-oh. And then the next day, me and the wife were like, we don't know anything about this. Like I was like, go to the store right now before anyone else does. Like it's time now.
Funny story. So literally the exact same day Like this is in like 2 days of us getting back from Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I'm on phone calls all day long and we're like, what's happening? You know, and, okay. And then literally like, nope, tour's postponed. It's not happening. I'm like, well, shit. Okay. The same, like literally at the exact same time, my wife is getting text from our friend Kristen, who we're friends with, Joey Sturgis and his wife Kristen.
Mm-hmm.
She's texting like, hey, can you guys fly to Miami like tomorrow? Do you want to go to the Bahamas? And we're like, what? And I'm like literally like, I don't know if the tour's happening or not. And I hang up the phone. I'm like, okay, tour's not happening. She's like, you want to go to the Bahamas? I'm like, what? So they went to Houston to go to some rodeo and that got canceled. So they flew to Miami to get on a yacht and go to the Bahamas. And they're like, I don't know, like who can anybody else come? So they invited us and we're like, hey, my tour just got canceled. So fuck it. Let's go. And we literally booked tickets and we went, 3 hours later, we went to the airport and flew to Miami, got on a yacht and we went to the Bahamas for the weekend.
Well,
and
that
then
wasn't a bad way to start the pandemic.
That's how we started the pandemic, on a yacht in the Bahamas. Like, fuck it, see ya, coronavirus.
Oh,
so we went out in the middle of the
you're
ocean.
Lucky you're telling this story a year later, because
yeah, if it
you
was
said
like that,
oh, dude, I
yesterday,
just got back from the Bahamas. Like, it's just really not that big of a deal. Everyone would be like, "Fuck you, dude."
Yeah. But it was a big deal. And when we got back, we got back to Miami. We stayed there for an extra day. And like, you know, the whole time we saw the news and I was like, oh, this is like this seems pretty
This
nuts.
is different. This is different than what we've seen before.
Yeah. We got back to LA and I was like, I should probably go to the store. And I went there and it was raided. There was nothing. I couldn't get toilet paper. I couldn't get like,
God damn,
I mean,
that
like I'm a pescatarian. Like we're pescatarian. We don't eat like beef, chicken, or pork. So there was plenty of fish. Like, thank God nobody wants that shit, but I love it. So
so random, but it's so random with the like that was evident early on to me, like that people were just being ridiculous about certain
the
things.
toilet paper thing.
That was like, dude,
what do you need all that toilet paper for?
Like honestly, there's other ways to wipe your ass. Like let's just be real. Like there's other ways to get yourself clean other than toilet paper. You don't need a hoard.
I'm a firm believer in baby
paper.
wipes.
Yeah, baby. I mean, it's because you come from the road, bro. We know how it is out there.
I live that way at home.
Well, it's because you adopted after you've been in a van for a long time
it's
traveling.
like, dude, toilet paper is garbage. That's just to dry off. Like,
no, you need to upgrade, Jake. I got to tell you right now. Next time you get a chance, upgrade your toilet, your master bedroom toilet. You need a bidet. This is something that you've traveled. You've traveled enough to know. A bidet. You've been to Asia. I imagine several times.
My wife is from Ukraine. I've been there. I see them. They scare me. I've been everywhere. I see them. I'm like, man.
You just got to come to the dark side.
I don't know.
You got to check it out. The first one I checked out was like the first time I went to Japan.
Yeah.
And man, like
well, the Japan
it was kind of like on a dare. It was kind of.
it.
Oh no, that's the kind I got in my house too, man. I was like,
okay,
so if I'm going for it, I'm not doing the European.
Well, you're
one,
gonna
no
get
offense.
you're gonna get the heated seat and everything.
Yeah. I want the Rolls Royce of toilets. That's what I want.
Yes, absolutely.
So I mean, you go in there, not to get too graphic, but I mean, I'm just like gonna say, like, I mean, it's a game changer, and you go in there as a dare. We were all younger when we first went to Japan. Everyone's like, "Did you see this?" Making jokes and shit, and then I'm like, "I'll check it out." I'll go for it. I'll be the guinea pig, and I never look back. I really can't stand anything else at this point now.
Yeah, I mean,
it changed
I'll
my
be
life.
there one day. I'm sure that's the next move. I'm not there yet. But.
Well, a funny story actually. That actually transitions quite well. Your manager Blasco, or is he still managing you guys?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Blasco.
I know he's got the same shit.
Yeah, dude. He's got. Oh no,
Yeah.
he doesn't have the same shit. He has that one in his downstairs because I went to his house before the pandemic. He was on the show. Had a great chat with him, and then I went and used his restroom. I'm like, good of you, man. He's like, yeah, it was one of the things they took from my old house. He's but I got a new one upstairs. I was like, good of you. That was your backup. That's fucking sick because it was like a really nice one. I'm like, can I go see the other one? Because
You're like, can I see the other toilet?
As now I'm imagining, like, have you seen the movie Why Him? With what's the actor's name? It'll come to me later. But it's the movie Why Him, and in it he's like this billionaire from the tech industry, but kind of seems like a fool. And he's gonna marry this guy, this normal guy's.
Oh, James Franco.
James Franco, thank you.
Yeah.
So James Franco and why him? Have you seen this movie?
I just looked it up, and I'm sure I have.
Okay.
I've seen every movie with him.
At any rate, go check it out for this part of it alone. Is he's a multimillionaire, probably billionaire is what they're getting at, and his whole house is automated. Including the toilet.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Down to the fact that a female, I believe his soon-to-be mother-in-law has an orgasm on the toilet. So I mean, they go pretty deep with it. But speaking of Blasco and his toilets and stuff, when did you first meet Blasco? I've had a couple of great chats with the dude. Very highly intelligent man. Really knows the music business.
Blasco's
He's
great.
on that no covers thing now.
Yep.
It seems like a really cool thing with Hit Parader. I don't know much about it at this point. I got to have someone on to explain it a little bit more to me. But you can talk about your relationship with Blasco for me.
Oh man, I mean, so basically, like when I first came into Black Veil, like basically how Black Veil happened, in the sense that it has become like a quick story behind it was, I had a friend who, like, I was in bands and stuff before. I came to LA in 2006, and I was in bands, and I was trying to do music, and I was writing my own music, and then I had this guy like hit me up, was like, "Hey man, you want to like write some songs with me? And I know you're like you're pretty good at writing songs and stuff." And I was like, "Okay, like yeah, let's check it out. Like sure, why not?" And I just, for the hell of it, was like, I burnt a CD, and I was like, "Here's some stuff that I've been working on," and put it in the car. And he's like, "Holy shit! Like this is crazy." And this was music that I demoed that became like on our second album, Set the World on Fire. Mm-hmm. Like right when we put that out, when we toured with you guys. And
yeah.
And this was like music that I had from then. And he's like, "What the fuck? Like, this is nuts." He's like, "Dude, I want to sing on this." And I was like, this dude is like a guitar player. And I'm like, "What? You want to sing on it?" Like, okay. Anyway, he introduced me to Jinx. And it was literally that night, like literally the same night. He's like, "Dude," I don't know, his brain just went crazy. And he's like, "I got to introduce you to this guy, Jinx. Like, you guys will be scary together." And I was like, "Okay." And like, I didn't know. I was like, "Okay." And he's making all these phone calls and doing so. He's like, "We got to go to this club in Hollywood." And I'm like, "Dude, what?" Like, I thought I was coming to write some songs. And I'm like, "Okay, we're going to a club in Hollywood." Anyway, we go there. I meet Jinx. I play him the songs. And he's like, "Dude, this is awesome. Hell yeah." And so that's kind of like how Jinx and I met. He came over the next day. We started working together. I've known CC because I worked with Logan Mader in one of my previous bands. He was a producer in one of CC's previous bands. Logan Mader produced it. And so we met mutually through that, sort of. So I've actually known him the longest. And he was like the last, well, besides Lonnie, the last member to come in. And when it, the early days when it was like, we need a new drummer, I was like, I got the guy. And I was calling him, and like, he wouldn't pick up the phone. I was like, "Dude," like leaving him voicemails, I was like, "Answer your fucking phone, dude." Like, and anyway, he ended up, he made the cut. He's a phenomenal drummer. So, it's kind of like how it all happened. It's just funny, but like, yeah. So basically right before I came in, Blasco kind of jumped on board. And when I first came in, the big hype was, "Yo, this guy Blasco who plays bass for Ozzy is like our manager." And I was like, "What the fuck? Like, that's crazy." Like, okay. And so that was like something that made me go, "Yo, this is like legit. This is like a real thing." And Jinx and I had met Andy previous, like in Hollywood, and we had heard the name, and I looked up the video for Knives and Pens, and it had like 2.5 million views at the time when I first saw it. And I was like, shit, 2.5 million views, that's a lot. And now I don't know what it's at now. It's 125 million plus, maybe. I haven't looked in a while, but
it's a lot.
It's a lot. And but I mean, shit, still to this day, 2.5 million is a lot. But it was kind of like shocking. I was like, wow. And so basically, like I kind of like Jinx started kind of working with them, and we were working on a band together. And then one day, like I was working a shitty telemarketing job for like Verizon Fios TV or something.
Telemarket? You had to call up motherfuckers? You were one of those motherfuckers?
Dude, I didn't even call them. A computer did. I just sat there and I was like, all right, dial. And then I would.
That's a little bit more respectable. I'm expecting a phone call from someone that I don't have in my phone, and then I answer, and it's always like, "Hey, Johnny, you got a second to talk?" And I'm like, "God, no! Thought this was the phone call I was waiting for."
You're like, bro, who is this? who are you trying to call? Johnny? Who? What? I don't know a Johnny. Like every time I answer the phone, and it's like a number. Like I usually don't answer, but sometimes I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm expecting a call. So maybe
I'm not talking about normal. Like normal, I would never answer a phone call I didn't know. But
okay.
Like you got like a technician coming that day to do something to your house or something like that from whatever company, and you're like, I said it's okay to text or call to give me like a heads up when they're on their way. So you go, oh, well, I'm not going to have that dude's number in my fucking phone. So I don't know where he's calling from. So you answer it, and you're like. Now I'm stuck. Now I'm stuck going to be an asshole because now I'm going to tell this motherfucker not to call me.
I had the worst fucking job. Okay, let's back up a little bit. You want to hear about worst jobs? I probably had a worse one before that. I was a psychic manager.
That. A psychic manager? That's a thing? That's a thing?
And I worked my way up to that.
No.
So just imagine that one. Dude.
Right, I'm so sorry to get off this Blasco topic, but let's just... we got to get into this. I'm sorry.
I'll get back to Blasco, but it's just I derailed.
And we got to go down this. We got to go down this path. What the fuck is a psychic manager, and why does a psychic who knows all this shit need a fucking manager? Explain that to me.
Well, exactly. So, okay, when I first moved to LA, I went to the LA recording school in Hollywood, and this was in 2006, and I was like, I got to get a job. Like I don't have money. I moved to LA from Hawaii with $700 in my bank. And I was like, I got to figure shit out real quick.
Yeah.
So I needed to get a job. So I found a job on Craigslist. It's like for a psychic hotline customer service rep or whatever. There.
Children at home, anyone that's aspiring for a job, do not find a job on Craigslist. There's a lot of bad jobs on Craigslist.
Not anymore. Back then you could. It was legit. Sometimes this happened to be, but don't do it now.
At least this story I don't think is going to go as bad as the kind of jobs you can get on Craigslist these days.
No. This was a legit company, and I still think that they exist today. Crazy, but it was a job advertisement for customer service reps for a company. The kicker was it literally was like 2 blocks away from where I lived in Hollywood, and I was like, oh, this is right down the street. This is perfect. I can literally walk there, and I didn't have a car, so I got an interview. I went there. I interviewed, and it was like nice place up at top. It's like Sunset and Highland, like right there.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
And I was like, okay, like this place is nice. And top floor, you can see everything. And did the interview. And the funny thing was the roommate I had at the time. So like I was living in Hawaii with my dad doing construction. I was like, I'm going to go to LA. Like, I got to go pursue my dreams, right?
Yeah.
And again, Craigslist shout out. I met my first roommate on Craigslist, never in person, just over Craigslist, over phone calls. And it's like, I got a bunch of people that want to move in, but I think I like you. And I was like, okay. And I just blindly moved to LA with like, dude, I just, like my backpack,
please tell everyone what year this was. Please tell everyone what year this was, and remind them not to do that in this day and age.
This was 2006.
Okay.
Yeah, don't do this now. You'll probably die. You're probably gonna get murdered. And I I thought I was probably gonna get murdered, especially when I showed up. I was like, I'm definitely gonna die. But I didn't, and I was just like, okay, this is LA. Here I am. And, I had experienced like living like sort of near LA or like in Malibu in 2004 and like kind of like getting to come to LA. But I was just like, boom, right in the middle of it. And I went to this recording school and I had to get a job. And I was just like, here I am. I'm here to figure it out. And so I had this job where like I lived with this guy for a little bit. He was kind of a weirdo, and then I met this other guy through him, and then we became roommates, and it was funny, we both interviewed for this place at the same time. And we both left, and they called me and said, we want you to come in for a second interview, and then they never called him, and he's like, what the fuck? Like, he was pissed. I was like, dude, I don't know, man. So I went in, I got the job, and I started working there. I ended up working in this place for like 2 years. So I was a customer service rep, basically answering phone calls, setting people up with their account, and then getting them with a psychic, right?
Okay. So
It's
like when you saw like
thing. So the psychics work
Cleo?
from home.
Yeah. So like when it was like one of those, correct me if I'm wrong here, it's like one of those like commercials you see late at night, call what's her name, and
100%. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Like infomercial shit.
Yeah, infomercial, call her, and you're going to get hooked up with Jake Pitts, who's then going to get you hooked up with your account, and then they're going to start
I wish
taking
they
money.
would shout me out, but they never did. I never became the psychic.
You might not have tried hard enough, man. I don't know.
But I didn't take it that far. I was like, fuck this. I'm out.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
So, yeah, man. I did that. Like, I was a customer service rep. I became like a supervisor of the whole customer service team, and had to deal with like the craziest bullshit, like crazy people calling in, like just insane shit.
What's one of the you could do it anonymously here. What's one of the worst things that you heard when you were on those calls? Like someone gives you like one of the worst life stories you've ever heard. Like not in like a sad way, like one of the ones where you're just like, what is wrong with you?
Well, there's one that specifically I remember. I mean, there was a lot of like sad things of like people would take out like second mortgages on their homes, like they owed, like they would spend terrible. Like $250,000 on this shit, and it's like they're just wanting to be told what they want to hear, kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think that's the problem with a lot of it. Not to get too heavy now here, but
yeah.
You know, I think that is a problem with the whole quote unquote psychic thing. It's kind of like, man, if you're that fucking knowing all and everything, why do you need to have a whole telemarketing team? I don't understand that. But,
exactly.
That goes to a different point. I'm more asking like, you talk to a proctologist. I want, the craziest thing that he's seen up someone's, behind. Like, I want to know what's the craziest story that someone was like, I did this, so what's going to happen, There had to have been something crazy, dude.
Okay, well, as a supervisor, I had somebody escalate a call to me. Like, I've had like customer service reps come up crying to me, like, "I can't talk to this person. You got to take the call." I guess I'm a patient person, and I'm able to like talk to people and calm them down. Like, I mean, I don't know. I had this guy get on the phone, and this was like a thing that like went on all day long. But I get on the phone, I'm like, "Hi, hi, I'm a supervisor. Like, what can I do for you?" Dude's complaining, like going off the rails, and he starts just like, he's like, "I didn't know, you got my credit card info and everything," and I'm like, well, so like they would run radio ads, right, like in the morning, for like a 5-minute free reading, like, and people would call in like, "I want my 5-minute free reading," and well, you have to set up an account, and we need to create your account with your info and your credit card info, because if you want to extend that 5 minutes, you can. And then you'll get charged. Yeah. And people don't like that.
No, they don't. But it's
not uncommon, but people don't like that.
Especially nowadays with the internet. I mean, that's kind of have to do that if you want something.
This was in like 2006, though.
Yeah, this is true.
Which still like not uncommon, but like people are like, "What do you need my credit card for? I thought this was free." It's like, well, yeah, it is. And you're going to get disconnected, but you can press like a button if you want to continue it and pay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And most people are fine with it, but this dude went off like, "Why did you take my credit card info? You're stealing my info." And I'm like, "Look, I'm just a supervisor here, like, and I'm trying to explain how it works." And out of nowhere, he just starts screaming like, "Oh my God, the red alarms are going off!" And he's like freaking out, like there's like alarms going off, and people are invading his building. Like there's the government, like the CIA is coming after him, and like he's like his building he works in is getting like raided by the FBI or CIA or something. I was like, what in the world? Dude? Like the dude was nuts. And that was one of the first times working like in like a cubicle job where I was like, I think I might be like done with this because somebody's gonna. I kind of felt like one of those situations where like somebody's gonna just roll up in here and start mowing people down, kind of thing. And I was like,
that's horrible.
I don't like this because somebody gets mad. Somebody didn't tell them the psychic said something and it didn't happen, and they're gonna come find the building. Did you ever find
out what happened with that guy and the red lights and everything?
No. So I literally spent hours on the phone with him, and then I calmed him down. Like I talked to him. Like maybe I could be one of those like negotiators that like talk people down, like terrorists or whatever. Like you're gonna blow a bunch of people up. Like let me talk you down. Don't do it. Like I might be really good at that. But so I calmed this guy down, and I got him like he was like okay. I don't know what was going on in his world. And then I got him off the phone, and I was like, when I hung up, I was like, I stood up and I just went, I'm taking my break. Like, and I left. And I was like, this was like, went on for 3 hours straight. And I was like, I'm out of here. Like, I'm taking my break. I literally came back 15 minutes later, and there are customer service reps crying their eyes out. This dude is calling random extension numbers, getting the owners, like HR, like this dude blew up everybody in the whole building, like on the phone, just screaming. And I'm like, I don't know, just totally out there. And it was like, yeah, we'll just move it to a lighter subject.
Yeah, let's move it on to a much lighter subject. You know, there was a lot of what we've been talking about is how you guys have been staying busy over the last year. One of the things was what was it? The restitch.
Restitch these wounds. Yeah,
restitch these wounds. Not only was it the 10-year anniversary of the first Black Veiled Brides record. Congratulations on that in 2020.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the industry runs it this way. We got an anniversary of the album. Let's remix it. You guys took it one step further and re-recorded the record for the re-release in 2020. I think that's very interesting. It was a very opportunistic in a good way. You know, it's 2020. What can we do? You know, that's the way I looked at it. Why don't you walk me through that a little bit and maybe tell me a little bit of the process. Was it 100% re-recorded? Did you save anything from the original Pro Tools recordings?
It was 100% re-recorded. I produced it, recorded it, mixed it, and basically the whole idea, like this has been something since literally 2013 that we've been talking about doing. Mm-hmm. Just because when we made that first album, we didn't have the budget to make a great sonically like the production mix. Like it just didn't hit like a modern album. It was like, you know, it was what it was. We kind of were on a time crunch. We had to pull a bunch of favors. We recorded this very quickly, and when we look back at that album, it's kind of like, it's very raw, and that's kind of how it sounds, and a lot of people like that. But for me, and I think everybody else in the band, is like very like, this doesn't sound like what we envisioned it sounding like. So
I think a lot of artists can look back, and if they're honest about some earlier records, they can see that. Yeah.
So that was like kind of the one album that we had in our catalog that was like, well, this one, you know, the anniversary thing of it, and we had talked about like redoing it, and just how rushed we were with things. There was ideas that we wanted to like maybe try differently here and there, and it just became a thing of like, hey, we're gonna do this finally for real, and we literally re-recorded everything. Wow. And we did it while we were doing the Night EP. We went straight into Restitch These Wounds. So we tracked drums at Steakhouse Studios in North Hollywood for the Night EP. And then we did the 2 songs, but then we came back like a couple weeks later and we just did the whole record. And we tracked it there. But then I did everything else here. Andy sang in my vocal booth here. I mixed everything here. We tracked bass, guitars, everything here.
Wow.
And yeah, we just did that, put it out, and it
specifically
like,
on a song. There was the Mortician's Daughter. which
Yep.
on the restitching of the wounds, that was completely instrumental now.
Yeah.
So how did that come about? And you said you did you did part of it while you were doing the night EP. Obviously, studio, probably drums, I would imagine, things of this nature.
All the drums were recorded there.
What about those strings and pianic parts for Mortician's Daughter? Is that something you did there too? Is that something you programmed later? How did you record that stuff?
So that is Jinx's end of things. Like Jinx has gone, like he plays violin, as you might know, and he's really, really, really insanely, incredibly talented with orchestration, and like he's scoring movies now, and I could
hear that in this revamp right there. I didn't know that he was already doing that, but you could definitely hear it in this revamp.
Yeah, he's gotten crazy good with that over the last few years, and we kind of nerd out over that stuff together. And so basically, Andy was like, what can we do different for the song? Like, he already played violin in the original. Andy sings it. It's an acoustic song, and it was like, let's make this like an overture, like what we had previously done, what Jinx had done, where just make it this beautiful musical piece. And he killed it. Like that's 100% all him.
Wow.
So he did all of that. Yeah.
I did that goes back to the more technical side of it. I know that maybe Jinx can answer this better, but maybe you could give me a little bit of how he recorded that possibly.
Well, I know he did that in his own home studio. He just takes his violin, and I believe he used a Rode microphone. I don't know exactly what model he has. I know he likes coming over here and recording with me, but whatever he does at home sounds totally fine too.
Yeah.
He, Universal Audio preamps, and uses Pro Tools, and he tunes his violins, and he tracks it all, and he does a lot of programming with contact libraries, and whether it's East-West strings or we've been nerding out about all these new ones, Spitfire, all these different strings. So he'll program a lot of it, but then he plays over top of it, like different layers, and it really like gives you that.
It's kind of cool because that's
human.
Yeah, that's what we're doing if we're spending time in these LA studios. I speak for us as well, is what you bring in the live strings, and sometimes it's good to have like one of these programs with like a good pad underneath to really fill it out sometimes. It
fills it, yeah, and you get that, and a lot of them, like especially now, like the new shit they're coming out with, like just the way you can like modulate things and like really use the vibratos, and you can make it so realistic where it's like you can't even tell the difference. But when you do that and then you put a real guy on top of it too, it's like you get the full spectrum that way. I agree. Yeah. That's really cool, man. I love that you guys did something different on the 10-year release rather than the remixed and here's a couple extra demos. What I really love about it too is it shows up for all of us listeners as kind of a new album. Rather than like, when they first started doing these anniversary records, I remember getting a little upset because I was listening to them over streaming, when I'm out and about. Like, sure, I still have the hard copy, but when you're out and about, you're not walking around with CDs anymore. You're not playing your vinyl when you're out in the car. Right. I still do that at home, but when I'm out and about and I want to listen to a song, a lot of them were taking the spot of the originals in my libraries. And don't get me wrong, I like the difference of them being remastered, remixed. I understand why, for a sonic reason, and some people love it, some people hate it. Sometimes for me, though, I love the sound of a song of an album like Rest in Peace. I grew up with it sounding that way, and although, and then there's other albums where like, well, for me, where's the bass? A lot of those 80s and early 90s records and metal records in general, it was like, well, where's the bass? And they kind of artificially beef it up in a remix kind of way. And although it's nice to hear it, it's also like, all right, I've heard it now. I want to go back to the one that I've been listening for the last 20 years. Yeah. So I do respect that you guys
did something different and aren't steering away from the original. You're just giving another option.
Yeah, I think the original idea was, we even talked about it. It was like, how far do we want to take this? Do we want to go as far as like manipulating melodies and like trying to make the songs better, or do we just want to try our best to make this a better version of like what we envisioned the album being in the first place? And that's kind of what it came down to, is like and it was about like what we think the fans would want. Like, like if we're gonna change it all, let's just make a new record. Like, we got to keep like what's there, but if there's a moment where we can maybe do something a little bit different, exciting, then let's explore that and let's do that. But let's not stray away from what that album originally was.
Totally.
It was just more so like, I know a lot of it, like in certain songs, like where there's these, very intricate, like fast picking breakdown parts where the kick drums are supposed to follow it. And originally it didn't do that. In the original demos, it did. And with Cece playing on it finally, like it was really cool for Cece because he never played on the first record.
Yeah.
So he got to, like, Restitch These Wounds was him playing on it. And it's like, he got to do his thing and just fucking go ape shit on it. And it was like, and me being the guy that's like recording them, I was like, dude, let's go. Let's give it, like, go to 100. Let's go.
Yeah.
And a lot of times he would go over 100 and I'd be like, okay, well, I don't need all that. And, but I would do that later. And like,
Isn't it good as a producer?
Crazy, man.
Isn't it great as a producer though, when a drummer specifically, or when you're recording leads, if someone could give you a little extra, and then you're like, okay, now let's rein it back. That's always a fun thing in the studio for me.
Well, that's one thing we learned from Bob Rock, is when we tracked with him, he would always say like, okay, I think I got everything I need, but let's do one for fun. And we just have him go off.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, like I got everything I need. Like, give me some of that extra shit that maybe I didn't catch already. Like, let's like do crazy fills. And so that's what
fun when everyone in the room goes, oh yeah, we're using that.
Dude, it would be like in the middle of the song and he's just doing this crazy shit. We're like, holy shit, that's fucking badass. And like, fuck yeah, I'm using that. Like,
and those are the moments while we do all the hard shit. I mean, to a lot of people, they go like, it's not a normal job, whatever, fuck you. Yeah, there's a lot of trials and tribulations that go into being a musician with other bandmates specifically as well. I mean, I can only speak to my experiences, but with other bandmates, you put in a lot of hard work. It's not the pop artist or artist in general who's working, kind of solo. It's them and a producer. It's, like I can see with you guys, it's 4 or 5 guys and a producer, and that's a lot of ideas to work through. And I think that's where the art comes through, and I could definitely hear it in you guys. Last thing I want to talk about before I let you go, we got to talk about a little of this Acoustour that you guys are doing right now. You're going through some radio stations, playing some of your hits acoustically. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we're just we're doing the radio thing, and it's a pleasure. We've never really done the acoustic stuff before. I mean, we have the songs on the albums that are like the ballads, or we've done that throughout the years. We always have those songs, and they're produced really beautifully, but we've never played them live. So there's a lot of these songs, like some of them are the ones where we're like, how do we even do this on acoustic? And we just kind of play it, how it is. But then there's the ones that are like, this was done acoustically and kind of like in that classical style and with the violins and the orchestration. And so we got Jinx playing violin. We got me, Jinx, and Lonnie playing acoustic guitar. Andy singing. We got CC on the occasion. Like,
are you guys doing this? Are you guys doing this live in the studio, or are you guys pre-recording some of it?
So we spent about 4 days. 4 days. We literally rehearsed one day before, and then we went in and just filmed a bunch of sets. Like we recorded them live. It's 100% live. There was no time to like, oh no, we got to fix something up. No, it was like we recorded it. Okay, that's it. And we did like 10 different sets, for all these different radio stations. And then we recorded an entire set with some extra stuff that won't be heard in the radio station sets.
Okay, a
where
little
we're gonna
teaser there.
be
Something that we need to
releasing
look forward to and follow Black Veil
something
Brides
to
find.
look forward to coming up. Yeah, we're gonna have the full acoustic show coming soon.
Okay, I love
Yeah.
that. That's very cool, man. We'll definitely follow that. Speaking of follow, make sure you guys are following Jake Pitts on Instagram and Twitter for sure. No one really uses Facebook anymore, but I'm sure you got one you could find there too. Pretty easy to find. Jake Pitts.
Dude, I couldn't even figure out my Facebook yesterday. I was like, you can
on
find
Twitter.
me on Twitch.
And of course your Twitch. So shout out your Twitch right now. One of the things that you've used to keep yourself busy over the last year is your Twitch feed that brought us together again.
Yes, that's
after
how this
10 years.
happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shout out your Twitch feed. How often are you going on there, man?
I'm going on there as soon as we're done here.
Wow, fantastic!
Yeah.
I hope
Yeah.
that I hope
I
that
try
they
to
can
do
tell you
3
had a couple of drinks. I hope your subscribers over there can tell you had a couple of drinks.
Oh, we do that sometimes, you know? Yeah, it's all good. We have Cece coming on my Twitch stream on Saturday night, so it's going to get real fucking wacky.
Awesome, man. Are you guys still going to be live when Paradise City drops tonight? I mean, that your boy Andy's going to be on Paradise City.
Yeah, when's
on
that come
Netflix.
out? It comes out at midnight?
Midnight tonight. We're recording this on Wednesday, the 24th of March. Oh, which by the way, happy National Cocktail Day. I was just going to have
Is
a
it
simple
National
whiskey.
Cocktail Day?
It is. I was going to have a simple whiskey
Did you make
with
me
you.
another one? Oh my gosh, my wife just brought me a second one.
All right, well, you're going to have to drink that one pretty quick. But yeah, National Cocktail Day, as well as the release of the new series on Netflix, Paradise City. Your boy
Amazon
Andy Black.
Prime.
Is it Amazon Prime as well? I saw it
Yeah.
on. I thought it was a Netflix show.
I think it's all Amazon.
Our boys in Asking Alexandra, Ben and Danny, are both acting in this as well as the amazing and somewhat controversial Bella Thorne is a part of the series. So I'm definitely going to be checking out tonight.
Amazon Prime, it is confirmed.
Amazon Prime, it is confirmed. Yep. Amazon Prime. Johnny doesn't know shit. He's had a few drinks, and this is how he does his show. Thanks again, man, for being on the show. I can't wait for the
thanks
new
for
record.
having me, man. That's awesome.
And all the best luck to you, and hope to see you in person and share a drink very soon, man.
Absolutely, let's do it. I know you're not too far away from me.
Nah, it ain't too far at all. Just down the 405, man. Cheers.
Yep. Also, I gotta say before we end this.
Yeah.
Whenever it happens and things go back to normal, it's been almost 10 years. I think it's time for another BVB Avenged Sevenfold tour.
Oh, he's putting it out there in the universe, kids.
I'm
ready.
putting it out there. Get it.
We'll see what happens, man. Down the line, we'll
right.
definitely be in touch on all those things. Man. And cheers. Thanks again for being on the show. And everyone go follow Black Veil Brides and Jake Pitt everywhere you find them. Easy enough to find. Until next time, cheers.